In this video, we'll walk through how to create and e-file an amended return in the Pro Web software. We're going to look at 3 of the most common scenarios for amended returns. Creating an amended return when you have an acceptance on the original. Creating an amended return when you have a reject on the tax return. And creating an amended return when you have not filed the tax return. Let's get started. Creating an amended return when you have an acceptance on the original. To begin, find the accepted return in your client list and click Select to open it. Once inside the return, click on the Amend Return button from the left navigation bar. The program will ask if you want to create a 1040X for the taxpayer. Click Get Started to continue. For a brief guide on how to amend the tax return, you can read the amended instructions here. The first step is to make sure the original amounts have pulled over onto the 1040X. Click Begin next to Original Federal Return Information. When you have the accepted tax return in your client list, the original amounts will automatically pull to this menu. You should still review the entries to make sure they are correct. If you aren't sure where to find an amount listed, you can select the Where is this located link for guidance. At the bottom, review the checkboxes and place a check in any that are needed. Once all the original information is entered and reviewed, click Continue to move forward. The next step is to make corrections for the amended return. When you select Begin, the program will show a message explaining that the program will load you back into the federal section of the return for you to make changes. Click Continue to go back to the federal section. From this point, you will make changes needed for the amended return, including, but not limited to, adding and removing tax forms. You can use the left-hand navigation menus to access any form within the federal section of the tax return. Once you have made all the needed changes to the return, select the Amended Return option again to navigate back to the Amended Tax Return menu. The next step is to print Amended Return. When you click Begin, the program will provide guidance on the mailing addresses for the 1040X. If you are mailing the amended return, you can access the mailing addresses with this link. Regardless of if you are mailing or electronically filing the amended return, choose Print to create a PDF of the 1040X to save for your records. When you have a PDF of the 1040X, you can then go back into the Amended Tax Return menu and select Explain Changes. The explanation allows you to specify the line number on the 1040 that was changed and the reason for the change. If you will be amending a state return as well, the next step is to select Amended State Return. This will direct you to the state returns and provide you the option to amend the state. After you select Amend State, look for the Amended Return option from within the State Return menu. Select Begin. Each state will handle amended returns differently, so be sure to read the information on the page and review each menu the amended state return displays. When you have reviewed every menu and are ready to save, click Continue to go back to the State Return menu. Then choose Exit State Return. You will repeat these steps for any other state returns you need to amend. Just be sure to select the Amended Return menu first and then choose Amend State Return. Now, let's look at how the process is different for our other 2 scenarios. Creating an amended return when you have a reject on the tax return. To begin, find the rejected return in the client list and click Select to open it. Once inside the return, navigate to the Amended Tax Return menu. The program will ask you to confirm you want to create a 1040X. Choose Get Started. Then choose Original Federal Return Information. For rejected tax returns, the original amounts will not automatically pull onto this menu. You will need to get a copy of the accepted tax return from your taxpayer to manually enter the information. Remember, you can use the Where is this located links for assistance. Once you have filled out the original return information, you will continue the amended return as we did before. Creating an amended return when you have not filed the tax return. For the scenario where you are creating an amended return for a tax return you have not previously e-filed, we will need to take additional steps. First, be sure to obtain all the tax documents from your taxpayer, including the documents that were used to originally file their tax return and a copy of the e-filed 1040. Next, start the return in your tax program. You will need to use the documents to create the return from scratch, entering every dependent and tax form the taxpayer has. Using the documents, you should create the tax return as if it were being made for the first time. While working through the return, you can make any needed adjustments or changes that are required for the amended return. Don't worry about trying to make the return you have created match the 1040 the taxpayer brought you. You will only use the 1040 to manually enter the original amounts on the 1040X. Once you have completed the tax return, rather than going to the e-file menu, select Amended Return from the left navigation bar. As before, select Get Started to create the 1040X. When the Amended Tax Return menu loads, click Begin next to Original Federal Return Information. This is where you will enter the amounts from the 1040 your taxpayer provided. Be sure to include all the original information and review the entries once you're done. Click Continue to save. Back on the Amended Tax Return menu, select Make Corrections for the amended return. When the program displays the correct original amount message, click Continue. As before, this will load you back into the federal section of the program. We need to complete this step for the information to correctly pull onto the 1040X, but we will not make any adjustments to the return at this point. After this step, you will follow the amended return process as we did before, adding the explanations and amending any state returns that are needed. E-filing an amended return. Once you have completed the amended return in ProWeb, you are ready to e-file. From the left-hand navigation bar, select E-file. You will then specify that you want to e-file the amended tax return. Select that option and click Continue. This will take you to the Amended e-file menu. Navigate through the e-file menus, reviewing each one before continuing. Once you're finished, navigate to the bottom of the submission page. You will need to mark the amended return complete and then click Transmit Return to e-file the amended tax return.